I chose Luc Besson to study. I have a list of directors I like, and the descriptor words I chose for him are stylized, kinetic, emotional, spectacular, and romantic. The two films I am comparing are Leon the Professional, produced in 1994, and Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, produced in 2017. These films both seem completely different at first because one is a gritty New York crime thriller, and the other is big and bright space opera film. I picked them because they seem like opposites, but after some analysis, they reveal some basic Besson patterns. He seems to be drawn to outsiders, substitute families, action built around moral choices, and visual words that turn emotion into style. The director of both films is Luc Besson. Leon is a crime drama about a lonely professional killer who becomes the protector of Matilda after a corrupt DEA agent destroys her family. Valerian is a science fiction adventure about two agents who are sent into Alpha, a city made of many alien cultures, and they eventually discover that their own government covered up the destruction of a peaceful civilization. I chose these films because they are far apart in scale, but it also makes the director's style seem easier to see. Leon is small, controlled, and emotionally focused. Valerian is huge, colorful, and crowded with spectacle. But both films are about damaged or immature people learning responsibility through the protection of someone vulnerable. My short description of Basson's style is that he builds heightened worlds where isolated people survive through loyalty, instinct, and moral courage. His style combines strong visual contrast, fast action editing, expressive music, and symbols of innocence placed inside violent or chaotic systems. When looking at it like that, the rest is really just superficial. In both films, the plot is ultimately about rescue. Leon rescues Matilda, and then Matilda becomes the reason Leon discovers self-sacrifice. In Valerian and Laureline rescue the pearls, and Valerian has to grow beyond his big ego and obeying orders to choose justice. So Basson's viewpoint is emotional and idealistic, even when based in dangerous worlds. The major themes I see across both films are protection, innocence inside danger, chosen family, and moral courage. In Leon, Matilda is surrounded by violence, but the plant becomes a symbol of innocence and needing roots. Leon himself is trained to stay emotionally detached, but Matilda forces him to become responsible for another person. In Valerian, the peaceful pearls and the small converter animal serve a similar purpose. They are a fragile life in the middle of a militarized political environment. In both films, the theme develops when characters stop following their old rules. Leon stops thinking only like a cleaner, and Valerian stops acting only like a confident soldier. Both must choose compassion. The two stories are different genres, but they share a clear transformation structure. Leon is built like a protection and revenge story. Matilda loses her family, enters Leon's world, trains under him, and then survives because he sacrifices himself. Valerian is built like a mission adventure that gradually turns into a mystery about a hidden injustice. Valerian and Laureline start with orders, then follow clues in Alpha, and finally uncover the truth about Mule. The common structure is that action leads to moral awakening. The characters do not simply win by fighting, they win by becoming more responsible. The titles also matter. Leon the Professional sounds like it would be about skill and violence, but the subtitle becomes ironic because the story asks whether a professional killer can feel love, protect innocence, and give up his own survival. The potted plant is important because it symbolizes Matilda and Leon. It has no real roots at first, just like they have no real stable home. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets also has a meaningful title. It names Valerian, but it also names the city. Alpha isn't just about a setting, it represents many cultures sharing one space. The title points to the fact that Valerian has to learn the mission is bigger than him. Visually, the films are opposites, but they use contrast in similar ways. Leon is made from narrow interiors, low key lighting, muted green and brown colors, and tight framing. This makes the world feel controlled and trapped. Valerian uses huge digital spaces, saturated color, vertical scale, and constant motion. But the same idea is underneath both designs. Besson often frames fragile bodies against overwhelming systems. Matilda looks small inside hallways, doors, and apartments dominated by adults and violence. The Pearls and the Converter look small inside military and interplanetary power. In both movies, the viewer's attention is drawn to vulnerability. Editing is one of the clearest ways to compare the two movies. In the ending of Leon, the cuts are controlled enough that we understand where everyone is in the apartment building. But as danger closes in, the rhythm gets faster. The movie alternates between inside and outside pressure, which makes the building feel like a trap. In Valerian, editing works differently because the movie is built from set pieces. Cross cutting and rapid transition help us move from the dream of Mule to the big market to Alpha. But Bassan still slows down when characters have to understand truth or make moral decisions. In both movies, action editing creates pressure. Then the pace opens space for sacrifice or justice. Besson also uses sound in a related way across both films. Leon depends heavily on diegetic sound, like doors, footsteps, gunfire, breathing, and the noise of people moving through hallways. The sounds make danger close and physical. The music then gives violence and an emotional layer, especially during the sacrifice and Matilda's new beginning. Valerian uses a much denser sound world. We hear ships, aliens, crowds, weapons, and technology. The soundscape makes Alpha feel alive and crowded. The similarity is that sound creates contrast. There's always tenderness inside chaos, and Bassan uses music and sound effects to make that tension felt. My final summary is that Bassan's style is emotional spectacle. Even in films that are more than 20 years apart, he creates stylized worlds. He uses kinetic action, he shapes sound and music for feeling, and he places symbols of innocence inside violent or overwhelming situations. In both these films, the core belief is that compassion matters more than survival, more than authority, and more than ego. I picked this director because his films make style visible. Even when I disagree with parts of a movie or notice weaknesses, I can still analyze how the director is using image, editing, sound, and structure. I picked Leon and Valerian because they challenge me to compare small scale and large scale filmmaking. What I learned about myself is that critical thinking helps me slow down my reaction. I can still have a personal opinion, but I now know how to support it with evidence instead of just saying whether I liked the movie or not. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I really appreciated this course, and it helped me learn a lot. Thank you very much.